So the first question I always ask when I start calls, like, how are you feeling, guys? And I cannot like ask you to unmute. We have like very strict rules from Russell here, but I know that whatever your answer today is, it is a different type of good, bad, okay, from what we had before. And it is super exaggerated or twisted. And good is coming right now with a great portion of suspicion, like something will be wrong, or whilst bad feels like really bad. This all will never end. And same is happening with companies. Transport, retail, events, HoReCa, sports, real estate. A list of companies on the bad side of the border, companies who are severely affected and waiting out the storm to come back is very long. And other companies are on the good side, actually, and they experience an unprecedented demand right now, and we jealously look at them, though it's not healthy growth. And only a few companies can straighten their operations and can cope with the high demand that jumped up overnight. And many of them fail to do that. And I'm not even talking here about a long-term recession that we are heading to, that will inevitably decrease overall consumer spend and lower our lifetime value. So either you're washed out right now or you're riding the wave. I would bet that all businesses are challenged right now, regardless where you are. And I know because I work at Skyscanner in one of the most affected business, industries right now, in travel. And so guys, if you're listening to me right now and you open today your analytics dashboard and you saw these horrifying numbers of users just dropping miserably, or if you're worrying that your company will fail under high demand and won't be able to serve all users, you should just know that like we're experiencing the same pain. We are all in this together. So today I will talk about what affected companies can do in this uncertain period. In this uncertain period when we cannot invest in marketing, when we cannot rely on organic growth, when we cannot make people use our product or use it less. When in fact, uncertainty is the only thing that is super certain right now. And just a disclaimer, I know that it will be a little bit different session from what you normally have at such ProductTank events. And today I won't be able, you won't hear from me tactical advice about like what you should do to succeed. And I won't be able to tell which features we can add to make our product interesting for users. We've never been in such situation before. And there is no tactical advice and rules of play here at all. And to be fair, I have no idea what's going to happen and what's going to work and what's not. And I would bet neither do you. So instead, I want to talk today about 3 simple yet very powerful, huge things that we can do that doesn't lose relevance now and they will not lose it in future. And 3 things that I believe will be common for all companies who will survive this crisis and race on the other side. And these 3 things are empathy, revaluation, and investments in sustainability and not exponential growth. So please bear with me. I'm a little bit nervous, to be honest, because like speaking on behalf of Skyscanner in front of the Edinburgh community, like this is a huge responsibility, guys. And I really hope I will be able to make this less of an educational talk and more like a real talk. And let's just see how it goes. Hopefully you will like it. So let's start with practicing empathy in all meanings of this word. What I really want to my message here is that it's really not about us businesses. It's about our customers who are impacted. Millions of people who cannot travel, who may be rethinking and rearranging their travel plans or canceling them altogether. Or thousands of people who stuck at home and cannot order food because of the high demand. Or people who need to combine working with juggling parental responsibilities. Or people who cannot go home to their families because they are fighting for the lives of others. Or people who live in a very small apartment and cannot go to the gym any longer. Or people who've lost their jobs or just about to lose them and prioritizing their expenses ruthlessly. It's really not about us businesses. It's about people. It's about us people. And the quote I found a couple of weeks ago, and it was like widely circulating at Skyscanner Slack channels, and I really loved it. It goes like this. This whole saga is really highlighting which businesses give a damn about people versus which don't, purely in their approach to customer issues. And I would argue that this period is very important for us. This period is a litmus paper, and we businesses, we are defined by our choices. And during these times, strong brands get even stronger, and companies with big values start showing off their true faces. And one of my friends and great analytics platform, Sensor Tower, they did great research to understand where the growth of some categories is coming from. It's categories like, home fitness or video calls. And surprisingly enough, the top 100 search terms in the US App Store in the wake of COVID shutdowns didn't contain any queries that we might normally associate with sitting at home. And most consumers were coming to the App Store with a clear intent to download specific apps. They're trusted brands that they've known and they've trusted before. And same is seen on the reports of another company, AppTweak. So it's not, the whole business apps category that went up right now. It is really Zoom and Hangouts that boomed. And it's not the whole food delivery category that tripled in size. It's mobile grocery shopping and very specific companies, to be honest, like Tesco, Waitrose, and Morrisons. And it's really not all fitness apps that experience hundreds of thousands of installs right now. It's Nike who does. So strong brands right now, they are getting stronger, and this is time for them. And I mean, it didn't come to them overnight, right? They were investing a lot to make sure that regardless of what's happening, people are searching for them and people are coming back to them. And this is time for us, for our companies, to show up as businesses who care, and not brands who push people to buy harder and more or teach people to do that. There are many companies right now who are just like, we've released 3 premium features. Go buy them and we will help you to release your anxiety. It is so sick. But we love brands who actually say to us, we know that you're prioritizing expenses and we give you free access until it's all over. And brands who say, we really want to serve you, but we cannot. We won't be accepting orders until we can commit you'll get what you need on time. Brands who say, you cannot concentrate, you need to concentrate, but your kids won't stop running around for a second. Get our game for them for free, they'll love it. Or brands who say, our service doesn't work for you right now, and it's okay. We can use it to help people on the front lines. And we at Skyscanner are saying, whether you're looking for a travel advice, the latest information, or need to refund or exchange your travel, we are here for you. And when this does pass, we can help you get back into the world. Yeah, so, guys, I truly believe that this is a good period for smart companies. And since I consider Skyscanner a smart company, I truly believe that this is a good period for Skyscanner as well. And we cannot do product and growth as we used to. And nothing that worked for us before works for us right now. So we've got a very unique opportunity to stop our giant engine for a second and rethink. And you cannot do this in any other normal circumstances because of the competition, because it's all running, because you've got systems in place. And in the fight between urgent important and non-urgent important, the former always wins. And we've got no urgent important right now at Skyscanner and many other companies. So what we can do is to start focusing on things that we were not able to do before, but we always wanted. So we invest our time and resources right now, not into impossible growth and pushing users to, I don't know, buy flights, book hotels, and etc. But we invest resources into maturing our app systems infrastructure right now and knowledge to be prepared when it's all over, which means for us actually 4 things right now. Like, this is what means for my team, but maybe for other teams it means different, but here we go. We change right now the way we collect and analyze data. We recalculate customer lifetime value, and we invest into determining high value user signals, which will be true regardless of external environment. We also rethink how and when we drive people to our product, as well as rethinking the whole value proposition of the app and its specific features. We try to understand what people expect from brands like ours in times of extreme uncertainty and how users expect us to show up, and we try to provide it. We also redetermine how people are going to use apps from our category in future and how we can address future challenges in our app. So right now we can finally focus on non-urgent important projects that can give us a competitive advantage when the world is ready to travel again. And the last thing is more cool to startups. I know that there are many startups who are listening to me right now, and this is call for you. I do believe that it was important before, but right now it is extremely important to start to refocus a bit and start investing in sustainability and not exponential growth. I have quite a strong opinion that the average revenue numbers and growth benchmarks are the most misleading and dangerous way to look at any industry. And both figures are determined by the revenue and growth of top of category companies. And it makes it very tempting for younger companies to start shooting for the stars and invest just to hit numbers of big players. But the unfaithful reality is, guys, that the majority of startups, they do not do any significant money. And you need to raise money again and again and again to just keep growing. Aiming to break even at some that may, or as the current reality perfectly shows, may not happen in some years. And for non-profitable businesses, I would say for no profitable businesses that were used to growing their products aggressively and neglecting long-term risks, it is and it will be harder than ever to raise this money for growth if they do not prove the sustainability of their business. And if there is no safety cushion, like, what would your plan be in this case? Would you just cut spending, or would you lay off people? Would you cut salaries? Can your current investors back you down through the town, bake you through the town of downturn? And I would argue that if the crisis is going to last for a long time, and it will be like years of crisis, we are likely to see previously very bright stars of the startup scene declared as bankrupt. It worries me a lot. And only few companies can truly afford being non-profitable. and can live through the crisis like this with all that. They normally have an exceptional vision and a big mission behind them. And I would argue, however hard we want, it is not the case for most of the startups. So sustainability as a goal will be more important than aggressive growth as a goal. And for Skyscanner, you know, guys, aggressive growth has never been the first priority. Our philosophy behind everything we do has always been very simple. Traveler first, partner second, Skyscanner third. For me, if you are putting your customer in front of everything you do, you willingly put aside your aggressive growth ambition. And Skyscanner is a profitable company. It's always been. And now it's one of few companies that can survive, that are like equipped well enough to survive the current climate and hopefully become even stronger after it all passes. But even for us, it is extremely hard time. And airlines, some of our peer travel products, they're not that lucky, and they need to make like very tough measures and make very tough decisions to just stay afloat. And in March, some of them has already declared bankruptcy. And so becoming profitable and remaining profitable, it is your biggest challenge. Yet it is your biggest advantage. And so when you face a crisis like this, you can definitely invest this time to support your customers, to mature your system's infrastructure, and to think about sustainability. And we will get through this, and we will be even stronger. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Alexandra, for your inspirational talk. We've got some questions which we'll hand over to Sophie for in a second. If you in the audience, if you would like to ask anything, please just type it into the chat function. If you don't know where that is, if you just bring your mouse down to the middle bottom of the screen, and you can see a little dialog box saying chat, press that and type in there whatever you would like to ask. I'll just kick off with one question. I mean, Skyscanner, your core proposition is flight search, and flights not only are grounded now, but potentially it's going to be a behaviour change. And behaviour changes are very difficult for anyone to manage. How are you approaching that? I know that you've got a number of different products in different sectors. How are you looking to bring them more to the foreground going forward?
That's a good question. So right now, if you were following Skyscanner for quite some time, we are not just flight search, right? We try to give users all the tools they need to be able to plan their whole trip. And we do not change that. This time, we cannot make users want to fly and travel and right now, and it's okay. But in future, it will not change. People will be still traveling. So in this case, we can just spend this time on something else without pushing the demand, which is not here, but rather just mature our processes and make sure that we are able to be in front of users when it's all over.
Great. Sophie.
Yeah, we got a couple of questions, and thank you so much for that. Really great talk. So one of the things that you were wanting to find out is, how do users expect Skyscanner to show up for them? Is there ways that you guys are researching that or finding out what that actually means to users? And then how are you measuring that? So how do you know success? Because I know it's very tricky to get the kind of right metrics right now, but is there any kind of indicators that you're doing things right?
We talk to users a lot. We talk to 5,000 to 10,000 people weekly to understand how they're feeling, like what challenges we have. Yesterday, I just had a catch up with our research and insights team, and they're like, we cannot do it anymore. It is too hard to hear from users how they are suffering. And it is hard to hear like all the challenges your customer have, but at the same time, it is your biggest tool, I guess, because it is clear what you can and you cannot do. Like our users would hate right now to hear about like deals, for example, and we don't push it. But at the same time, people want to receive proactive support. Many of like their travels, future travels, they were canceled. And we try to provide that. We try to listen to them and to understand that they want to feel secure when they are booking something for the end of the year or for the next year, if the crisis is going to last longer than that, right? So we try to hear this and try to address these challenges in our product by delivering only features that support our users and address their core concerns.
Great. Sophie, is there more?
Yeah, well, there was, on that note, I know you were saying you've invested quite a lot into kind of infrastructure and looking into like the values, the kind of more long-term things, but is there any like work on the product itself? Is there going to be any feature releases after the launch? And that one's from Maria, that question.
That's a good question. We haven't released it. I am not sure that I can talk about it, to be completely fair, but I will give an insight that yes, we are going to release special features, such as we are going to provide extra flexibility when users are booking something to give them this peace of mind when they are booking within this year.
Awesome.
I think we can do one more question too.
Yeah, so another question from Maria was, could you help explain sustainability a little bit? So maybe an example, or again, maybe how that's being measured.
Yeah, two examples. So, and two ways to look at this right now. So the first way to look into this, something that I mentioned in my talk, is sustainability as a business, not being in the run for aggressive growth and killing your competition, but just starting with a user and trying to understand what is the right way to do. Also, our product won't benefit from, like, our growth won't be accelerated dramatically. And you will find like very fascinating answers when you ask this question. And your growth won't be that steep, but at the same time, the fall, if the crisis like this happens, it won't be that rapid either. So this is the first way to look at sustainability. The second way is how to stay relevant with all things that are happening around, and not just this crisis. Like, for example, ecology, how we as a company impact the environment, and how we can address these issues. People travel more right now than ever before, and they will travel more in, the travel volumes will increase in future. It will have an impact on the environment we live in, but we really want to make sure that our children and grandchildren, they can enjoy the world for years to come, right? How our product can address this, how we can think more sustainably at what we are doing, not just like how healthy our business is right now, but how to make sure our business is healthy in 5, 10, 20 years.